Okay, hello there. Recording today's class. We've just looked at some of the rigs to make sure the deformation's working. If it's not working really well, well, it needs to look really well for the high grade. Again, for me, the simplest way to work with painting weights is it's additive. So where you want the points to go, you select that joint and you have the value set to 1, but the opacity set down, and you can slowly kind of paint on. You don't want to turn the value to 0 and paint out the weights because you don't know where the weights are going to. Okay, so new. All right. So what I'm going to do here, I'm going to hit space bar, and I'm going to go to the side. Pardon me. And well, actually, no, I'm just going to create a skeleton. Let's go to skeleton, human IK. I'm going to create a skeleton, and I don't want finger bones. I do want, okay. Toe base. What else we got? Roll bones. Okay, I don't need any roll bones. Now, I showed you how to do twist joints. If I wanted to, if you did that in Maya, this is what it would do, just so you kind of get the idea. So I'll put 1 there. And so, oh, they changed it. They changed it how it should be. How cool. How awesome is that? Ah, yes, they made it very cool. They made them how they're supposed to make them. They used to make them so they'd just be in between, which is not the way to do it. Okay. So spine, 1, 2, 3, yeah, that's good. Okay, here's my skeleton. I don't know what these other things are. Let's go to joints. Why am I not selecting joints? Because it's a character reference, maybe? Let's take this out of there.
Those didn't show up until you deselected the finger bones.
Yeah, I think you're right. How weird is that? Neck, right shoulder. Why can't I select the finger? Okay, I'm going to turn on all. Okay, well, let's just... Actually, you know what? I told you we were going to do some scripting, so I'm going to try to solve a problem right now. So we've got these extra joints. We know they're fingers, but it looks like I created them and then it didn't make them because I excluded them. So, and then I pulled it out of the character definition. So this is just extra junk laying around. So what I'm going to do is on the right-hand corner, this is the script editor. Oh, and did I start recording yet? Yeah, I did. Okay, right-hand corner, this is the script editor. So I'm going to bring this up. All right. Okay, so it looks like I was actually selecting these things. So I'm going to take like this command here, and I'm going to use the Alt or just the middle mouse button, and I'm going to drag it down here. Oh, so that's not going to work now because they're out of the hierarchy. I'm going to try to select copy. No object matches name. Yeah, so it's like they're not there. Maybe they're just still there visually. So what I'm going to do here, I'm just going to export the skeleton. First of all, I don't like this character prefix. So I could come here to, let's select the hierarchy. You use that an awful lot when you're working with joints. I'm going to go to Edit, and I'm going to go to, let's see, Create, Modify, Search and Replace. I'm going to search for character 1 underscore, and unfortunately I have to give it some other value. I'd like to say space, but I don't think that'll work. No, so I have to give it a value, so I'll just put a dash. Hierarchy, so apply. Oh, and I didn't have character 1 here. Try that one more time. Yeah, it makes you put something in. Flags. Okay, so it doesn't like flags. I'll give it a dot. Apply. Replaced 22 names. So I got rid of the, oh, what do you know? If I put a dot in, instead of that the dot doesn't actually stay in the name. That must be a hidden gem. I just found out something today that's been driving me nuts for years. I've been using a 20-year-old plugin that works better than this, but I just found out a secret. That's cool. Okay, so I'm going to just take this. I'm going to say File, Export Selection, my binary export selection. I'm going to stick it desktop. Hey, my computer desktop. Let's go here. Desktop. Scale. Export selection. Okay. File, new scene. Don't save. File, open scene. Desktop, scale, open. So I got rid of the fingers. Okay, something else you should know about skeletons when you put on a rig, especially for IK, they should be at a little bit of a bend. So here I'm just doing a little bit of a bend on them. There's other ways around that. I just wanted you to see that part there. Okay, also, it's good to bind a character in this pose. Now there is a reset bind pose function, but I don't have a geometry on it, but I'll show you that a little bit later. I'm just going to try to get these right. Okay. Now I'm going to go through, let's just select the hierarchy. Let's freeze transformations. Okay, so that should have zeroed out those rotations I just made. Remember that in a clean hierarchy, at most on a branch, you'll have 3 digits. So actually clavicles come forward a bit. So that's what I should do really is. Now if you want to select multiple things and the gizmo's in your way, you can just hit Q and then shift, select, and that gets the gizmo out of your way. So I'm going to move these forward, the clavicles, and then with the arms, I'm going to move them back just a little bit. Grab them both. And right now I'm in object mode. I'm going to go to world mode. So I'm double clicking on the move tool. I'm going to go to world right here. Now I'm just going to move these back a little bit. Okay. So, and also I don't usually put the first spine joint that high above the hips. I put it about like that. Okay, so select the hierarchy, freeze transformations, and then I can orient the joints, but I'm not going to worry about that right now. Okay, so now I've got a skeleton that I'm working with. Now let's create, there's a couple ways to create curves. I usually go to a for view. So under create, I can go to NURBS primitives. I could make a circle. If I go to the option box, I'm going to say edit, reset settings. And so to make a circle, the y-axis is its default. So I'm going to click on create. And so now I've got a circle that's at the base of the floor. It's made on the y-axis. It's a little tiny for our applications. So I'm going to hit the R key and I'm going to scale it up a little bit. Okay, I'm going to freeze the transformations again to put the scale at 1. Now maybe a little bit more. I want it to stick out. Freeze transforms. Okay. I'm going to put the circle on the arm. So this is its native orientation because I created it in Y. Now I could create it in X, and if I created the circle with its orientation in X, then it would be like that. Or I could just rotate it manually, which is essentially the same thing, and then freeze the transformations. Excuse me. And so I'm really starting to like this circle. It's just got a lot of charm to it. So I'm going to freeze the transformations again. Now I've got goop over here under inputs. So be a good idea to delete the history. That'll clean it up. Okay, and so remember earlier I said you can take a, you can do some constraining. So I'm going to duplicate this a couple of times. Okay, and so now I'm just going to select the first circle. And so I'm going to constrain a circle. You guys just go ahead and do this on your Goldberg model. So I'm going to select the arm. I'm going to shift select, or in this case in the outliner, I'm going to control select the first NURB circle. And then I'm going to go to constrain. That's over here in the rigging menu. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to put point constrain here, and I'm going to put point constrain with the option box. Control Shift, click on the option box. I'm also going to put orient there. Okay, so I'm going to select this, and tell you what, why don't I just move these so it's maybe makes a little bit more sense. So let's take this, and then I'm going to select that. And so now I'm going to say point constrain. That's going to give me the option box. So I don't want maintain offset on. And so if I click on apply, so that snaps it right to the joint that I'd first selected. And if you click here, then you can see that it's got a point constraint on it. And so it's the name of the thing, and then it's, the default name is point constraint. I can also do that and shift select it again, and I could do an orient constraint. So then orient constraint comes up, the tool changes, and I could leave on maintain offset, or so I'm gonna leave it off just so you can see what happens. So let's say apply. Okay, so now the circle is pointing straight down the joint. And you know what, for now that's okay. I'm going to show you something a little more sophisticated a little bit later. Okay, so now the circle's where it needs to be. Now if I come up here to tell you what, I'm going to take the script editor, and you guys should do this too. You can also access it through Windows, General Editors, Script Editor, or down here in the corner. Okay, I'm going to make my text a little bit bigger. This is just the Control middle mouse button. And so I'm going to clear with the X here the history window. So now I'm kind of starting fresh. So now what I'm going to do, okay, so I tapped here into the space, and so this says select, and so the commands all have, if you middle mouse drag it down into the input and make sure that a Mel tab is selected. If it's this kind of turquoise blue, that means it's a command, and if it's italicized. And the commands have flags. And in this case, this is a flag that stands for clear. Right now it's using shorthand, so it's just CL. So if I run this command, so I'm going to select all this. If I run this command, now there's a couple ways to run it. The way that I usually like to do it is I like to highlight it, and then with the numeric enter key, not the regular enter key, with a numeric, highlight it and just hit the numeric one. And so I'll do that again just so you can see. These are selected. And if I run this, that deselects everything.
There's an execute button at the top too, right?
What's that?
There's an execute button at the top to play it.
Well, this'll,
The triangle. Over like 4 or 5.
a triangle,
Like 5 to the right.
5 to the right. Yeah, there's also an execute button. Okay, so I was going to show you that too. You can execute as well. So let's just grab some stuff. And then we can click on that, and that'll execute it. But what happened is my command went away. And so this is why I like to, have it down here. So then I just highlight it, numeric enter key, and it stays.
If you click the execute all next to it, it doesn't erase the history.
What's that?
If you click the execute all, the one that has 2, it doesn't erase the number.
Okay, so execute here, and it doesn't erase it. So, yeah, so you can do that. I'm used to doing this, or you can do that. And if you want it erased, you can do that. It was highlighted, so it didn't erase. Okay. But you can see everything here in my history. It's showing me everything that's happened, which is really cool. So let's see what the command is to point constrain something to something else. So the command for doing that is I'm going to select the thing, and then I'm going to shift select the other thing. And then I'm going to go to constrain, pardon me, I've got it up here. Leave maintain offset unchecked and click on apply. Okay. Okay, does anybody know anybody from Carrollton, Texas? Neither do I. I need to get that app where you can zap the spam calls. Okay, so I just point constrained the thing. So, now if we look here, I've got a bunch of stuff. And so this is saying point constraint options. So what this was is bringing this up. Then I can see this do create point constraint argument list. And I guess that would be if I wanted to isolate things. And then I've also got this just point constraint offset is 0, 0, 0, so that means it's off. And I'm constraining it with a weight of 1. And then this gives me the results. Okay, so this is my command. So I'm going to take this down here. And I'm going to grab these two. And I'm going to bring these two down here. Okay, so now I'm going to come back here and I'm just going to hit Z. Make sure you're selected in the main window. Hit Z. Deselect everything. And so I just undid that point constraint. I think Control Shift Z is supposed to redo, I think. I don't. Okay, so undo is Control Z, redo is Control Y. I rarely redo anything. Anyway, I'm usually undoing. Okay, so here's the select command again, left forearm. Now this has a flag of -R, and the -R stands for, I think it's recursive. So it's essentially saying select the left forearm, which is this, and nothing but. And then I've got a second select command that's selecting the second NURB circle. Any guesses as to what this flag is? TGL? Anybody? I'll give you a guess. So I'm selecting one thing, and then I'm adding something else to the selection. TGL is the shorthand name for it. What do you think the long name might be? All right, I guess we're gonna have to look it up. So I'm gonna right click here. Let's see, where's the, okay, so let's go to history, let's go to command, tabs, help. Tabs. Okay, so what I want is quick help for starters. So under command on the script editor, if I turn on show quick help, then it gives me a little thing right here. And so if I go to select and right click and then go to quick help, this essentially shows me the shorthand and the longhand flags. So in this case, TGL stands for toggle. Makes sense, right? And with the R, it's not recursive, it's replace. So essentially, no matter what I've got selected, if I just run this command, it's going to replace everything except for the left forearm. All right. Okay, so I'm going to hit Z, and I'm going to undo that again. So, you know what happened is I ran the whole thing, and so it did the whole kit and caboodle. What I could do, though, is just say, I'm going to take this and I'm going to copy and paste. And what I'm going to do here, so if you put 2 forward slashes, that turns it into a comment. Okay, so now I'm going to run the whole thing, but, and also after each line, there's a semicolon. That's the syntax. So I'm essentially going to take off all the flags because I think what we just did is the default. We're going to find out real quick. Okay, so I can do this just because. I'm going to say select clear. Okay, so let's select clear. And now we're going to select this one first, that one second, and then point constraint. And there you go. Okay, so, and here's the point constraint to prove it. So, I'm showing you how to constrain things with position. I'm also showing you how to do it in code. Now, here's the cool thing about why I get so excited in Maya about scripting. So when you do stuff, Maya spits it out in the history window. So I don't have to go look for the command of what it is. It spits it out, so the commands are right there. which is really, really cool for an artist. Or for anybody getting started with Mel. Okay. So there's also orient constraint. So I'm going to undo this again. And let's see. So I'm going to click on orient constraint. Okay, now this is the orient constraint option box. As you can see that orient constraint comes up. Options. So I could probably deduce that copy, paste, and a semicolon, that orient, that's the command for orient constraint. And in fact it is, because it turned this blue color. Okay, so I undid everything. So it's going to select the first one, the second one, it's going to point, and it's going to orient constrain it. So let's give that a try. Pretty cool, huh? Is there anybody that does not think this is cool? Okay, I'm going to do one more for the hand. I'll do this one manually. So select this one, and I'm going to do a point constraint and an orient constraint. Okay, so now I've got these positioned. All right. Now I'm also going to, whoops. So now I'm also going to, so the controls have to go in a hierarchy the same way the joints do. Okay, so I'm going to, for this one, I'm going to select it, select the child, shift select the parent, hit P. So then if I select the parent or the elbow, they're all selected. In the next case, what I'm going to do is take, let's see, the NURB Circle 2, which is this one, and it's got the hand as a, and you know, I'm showing you guys bad habits. Elbow underscore CTL. Okay. Double click on that. Shoulder underscore CTL. For this class, anything that you turned in must be named logically. Must have a name. If you didn't have names on it in industry, you'd get yelled at by a programmer or an artist. And if they are, I've had this happen before too. I had an animator complain once about a minor thing with my rig that he didn't like for some reason. And he chose a meeting with all hands meeting, everybody there in the studio. And he complained about it to everybody. So that wasn't cool. He didn't gain any friends there. So if you, hopefully when they yell at you, they're yelling just straight at your face. A lot of times they'll yell at you in front of everybody else. So make sure that, you know, all these little nitty gritty things I'm showing you, I want you to take it seriously. Okay, so each one of these has a point and an orient constraint. Here I just used select, then shift select P to parent. Here I could use the middle mouse button to parent. Okay, so let's do that. I just put it over the top. So And then if I expand it all, that's my hierarchy. Okay. So, now what I need, so now I've got a hierarchy. Now this first orient constraint I did, remember I told you there's a couple things you can do with orient constraints? The first one I did was just for getting it in position. Okay? And one thing I should do once things are put in position is freeze the transformations. And so I don't need these constraints anymore. Okay? So I've got them in condition, or pardon me, I've got them in position and orientation. So I'm just going to take the constraints and delete them. Now I can select my hierarchy of, select hierarchy of my controls. I could say freeze transforms. Now they're all zeroed out. Okay? Very important. If you don't zero stuff out, if you don't freeze transformations, you will have a problem with your rig and it'll suck. Right. So what I want to happen is if I rotate the controller, I want the, and here I'm going to go to object mode. It actually is an object mode. Let's go to component. No. It's in world right now. Why isn't that going to object? Oh, it is. Yeah, that's cool. Okay, so I want the controller to control the joints. So who can tell me, based on what we've done, what do I need to do? How am I going to make this follow that?
Same way we did the red ones.
Yeah. So let's now we so which one do we select first? Start with the. I'm going to start with the shoulder, the controller, or the joint. There's only two options. So let's grab the control, the joint, and let's bring up orient. And let's hit apply. Now this time, technically this would work. Actually, I'm just going to apply this. I'll just do it. Yeah, okay, that's what I thought would happen. Close. Control Z. Oh. Yeah, I know what I did. Okay. When I froze the controls, like something looks a little off here. Like the orientation of the gizmo is not the same orientation of the controller. You guys notice that? And that was because I froze the translations, and so it's going to freeze into like a default world position. So X or y, Z, X, and Y. At some point, I'm going to show you how to orient these so that they are in a more logical orientation. But I just wanted to point that out.
Can you do it the same way we did the original joints?
Say that again?
Can you do it the same way we did the original joints where you go into components? LRA or?
We could, but, well, there's a couple things I'm going to add.
Okay.
Okay, so if you're asking about the orientation, yeah, you can. So let's select this, let's shift select that, and let's go and bring up the orientation. And we're going to check maintain offset this time. Apply. Then let's grab this one, select that one, maintain offset, apply. This one, that one, maintain offset, apply. Okay, so if we wanted to do, like say just this last one again, I'm just going to undo the last one. Okay. All right. So copy, paste. Okay, I don't need this goop here. Okay, I've got this under orient constraint that I just did on the hand. I just took it off. There's a flag here. So orient constraint, the flag is like an option. So any guesses what MO stands for? Little hint.
It would stand for motion.
Maintain offset. Okay, so I don't need the weight on, but I do need the maintain offset. Because if I don't, it's going to make it go cuckoo. Okay, so let's just do this again. Here, I'm just going to run just these lines. Okay, so now it's connected. So now I can come in here and I can rotate. And I can rotate. And so now I've got a set of controllers. Now, let's say that the character is moving forward. What's the problem there? Take a peek up at the screen. How do I fix this?
You need the point constraints.
How do I make the controllers follow along with the skeleton? A little louder, please.
Parent them to the skeleton.
I could parent it. That's a very good, excellent choice. So I could take the very next bone. So I could select this one, shift select that bone, and hit P. And so now if I had a controller down here, and if I were moving it, it's going to follow along for the ride. What's another way I could do that?
Does the point constraint work?
Yeah. So I really want you guys to be you know, I don't always have the best questions. Maybe I don't always phrase them the best way, but I really appreciate the interaction in the class. I want you guys to not just watch me, I want you to participate. It's going to help you understand it a little bit better. And it's going to help me know if because, you know, for 2 years, I've been looking at black screens with a name or faces with masks. And I'm used to, you know, I want to be able to look at somebody and assess if I'm try to assess the understanding. So your participation really, really helps. I really appreciate it. Okay, so I think I just got rid of the parenting there. Let's find out. Yeah. So somebody else said, can we point constrain it? Yes, we can. So we could grab this joint and then shift select that. Let's go to point. I think I'm going to leave maintain offset on because I want it to stay where it's at. Apply. And then again, so out of all this goop here, this is the key command right here. Maintain offset. The weight defaults to 1, and by weight I mean you can have something constrained to 2 different things, which means that I'll show you that in a minute, because that's something else we'll do later, a few classes from now. Okay, so now the character can go forward. What about these guys? Do I need to point constrain them? These controllers? Yes or no?
No, because they're already parented to the shoulder.
No, because they're already parented. That's correct. Could I point constrain them? If I really wanted to be nutty about it, I could. But the parent relationship is going to keep them, always together. Okay. Whoops. All right, so what next? There is some other stuff I need to show, but I'm going to add that later. So for now, what we're going to do, do you guys want to take a quick break? Because we're going to automate this now together. All right? So I've been yapping for a bit. Go ahead and take a break, 5-minute break, and then we'll automate this process together.
Feels like something you did not do. Some transformations. But it looks like it's. Because I mean, you might be able to spin the other then freeze it. I mean, maybe it's zero. If it's zero, it should. Do it all at once. Just use a multiple device. It will.
Yeah.
For some reason, when I do it with straight my shoulder, it like spins it on the joint.
Okay, that's because, oh, I'm gonna get off that. You gonna do that?
Yeah.
Let me get my glasses.
Oh, yeah.
It's gonna be this. And then shoulder, strain, all, and then here offset. That's not right.
Yeah, I have no idea why it won't twist. It's still like constrained, but it doesn't, it just twists the joint. And I checked my food techniques for like all three.
Okay, I'm gonna try it over myself. I'm gonna see if you can pick up on that. You're using my computer too?
Yeah.
Oh, well, for one thing, you've got a key, and maybe that might have something to do with that. Let's try getting rid of the keys first. Break connections. Let's try it again.
Oh, yeah, mine should be too.
Yeah, well, because Okey doke. Okay, so I'm gonna clear my history from the script editor. I'm gonna take my controls and I'm just gonna delete them. I should send my everything else back. Well, oops. Okay. Okay, that's good. Let's set this guy back to 0 on the Z. All right. So, there's one command that would be kind of difficult to, it'd be kind of hard to know, without being shown. All right, and so, now this is where I want you guys to follow along here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go to Help, and I'm going to go to the Mel command reference. Okay, start without my data. Okay, so these are the Mel commands for Maya. Mel is Maya embedded language. Now there's one command I know I'm going to need, and that's called ls. And that's right here. Okay, so I'm going to come down a little quick. Okay, so the ls command, it's like a list command. And so this is kind of how it works. ls, this is a command. This is a synopsis of the command. Returns names and types of objects in the scene. The most common use of ls is to filter or match objects. Okay, so this is really useful. So, for instance, well, right now, we can play around with some of the other stuff for now. I just want to get right to the point. So, okay, so this is a command that I use all the time. I don't think I've ever written a script where I haven't had ls-sl or dash selection. So what that does is it lists the objects that are currently selected. And so what I want to do is I want to harness those objects, and I want to be able to harness whatever I've selected, and I want to, assign it to a variable. That way I can do for loops on it and repeat automated things. Now you all should have had some Python programming. So the idea of for loops is pretty simple, right? Okay. So this is what I need, and so these are all the different things you can do with the ls command. And the cool thing about Mel as well, it shows you examples. So the example I'm looking for is, okay. All right, so this is the example that I'm looking for. LSSL. Okay, this is really close to what I'm looking for. So I'm going to copy this. Oops. Let's go, Microsoft. Okay, so I'm just going to make another tab here so I don't mess up what I've got. Hit plus, select Mel. I'm going to paste what I just grabbed out of the examples in the command list. Okay, so what I'm going to make is a string array. And so the proper syntax for that is all of your variables have a $sign in front of them. And so I'm going to call this let's see. I'm going to call this J and T for joints. And I'm also going to put a bracket on it, and this is the hard bracket. Okay, and then I also need an S here. So let's just see if it works first. I grab these. Okay, syntax error. What did I do wrong? Equals ls. ls sl. Oh, I think it's because it's a capital L. Nope. Okay. Well, I guess I have to jump to my script really quick. I haven't written a script in a little while, so files. Okay, scripts. I just happen to have some scripts here. Those aren't the scripts I want for now, so I'm going to go into here, files, scripts. Okay, so I'm going to download FK Controls X. Okay, so let's cut this. And let's go to this PC, or desktop, new folder, scripts. Paste. Okay. And then I'm going to make another Mel window, and here I'm going to load a script. So file, open script. It's on my desktop, scripts, FK controls, open. And oh, okay. That my yeah, it's just the silly little things. So this is a variable of type string. I forgot to tell it that. Okay. So, all right. Here we go. So I'm making a string array. I know it's an array because I've got these boxes on it. And what's happening here with this ls, sl? So the ls, again, it's this list command, and I'm listing the selected objects. And then here I've got these little backticks, and essentially what that means is this variable, the string variable, equals what I've got selected. So it's just as simple as that. And I use it like in all my scripts. Okay, so I'm going to copy this, and so I'm going to come back to this first Mel. Whoops, I don't want to delete it. Nope, I'm going to go back to where I was playing around here. Okay, so right there, I'm making a list. So another thing you can do is if I do a / and then a star, and then back here another star, and a /. I think that pretty much means that this stuff won't run. So let's pray for rain. Yeah. Wait a minute. It is running. I need the 2. Oh yeah, I need 2. Okay. Daggone it. Okay. Okay, I don't think anything's happening there. No, it didn't happen. So this is commented. Okay, so if I were to run the script, I'm going to select just these 3 joints. And so then I'll run this, and okay. Actually, I'm not going to run all. I'm just going to run this part. Okay, so the result of this is left upper leg, and left foot. Okay. Now you can kind of play around with that a little bit by doing the print command. Okay, so I'm going to print JNTS. Well, let's put a semicolon on it. And if I print it, you can see what it's returning up here. Left leg, left foot. Okay. What if I just want to print the last one? Okay, so when you're working in arrays, what is the first number?
0.
That's 0. Okay, so if I'm going to select the last one, then that'll be 2, because I've got 3 joints selected. And it's left foot, so that's what I want. Okay, so so now I know I can select things and then I can interact with them. So I'm going to copy this just so we kind of have our stuff. Yeah. Okay. Okay, so this will select, this will print them all, and this will just print the last one. Okay. Now, let's say that we want to make we want to create a circular control, and we want to, add them to the joints, just like we did before. So let's do that. Okay, so for that I need a for loop. And back here in the Mel command, just by going through the for loops, okay, so all right. So I'm going to grab this. I saw an example of for loop there. Actually, this is a little cleaner. Okay, so that's commented. Let's take this out. Let's take that out. So typically, you'll do it's not like Python where you have to be perfect with your formatting and tabs, but it's a good idea to do that stuff. When you're doing a loop, you want to have brackets, and the brackets that are used in Mel are curly brackets. Okay. Now, so what we're going to change here is what we're going to change here is we're going to put joints here. So let's just grab this. I'm going to replace this because this is just kind of like a template. Okay, joints. Let me look at that example again. Okay. Actually, I'm not even sure if I need this command, so I'm just going to comment it. Okay. Let's find out if this works. I might need that. So I'm just kind of doing this with you. Just I want to try to reason it out and just kind of reason it out together. I've got the script that does it. I could show you the script. You could use it and run it. But I want to try to figure it out together with you. I want to have, well, more, I want you guys to kind of figure it out. So, for OBJ in joints, I'm going to print, and I'm going to give it a carriage return. So this is a carriage return, and I'm going to see if this works, because I'm not sure if it will, but let's try it. So I've already done this, so if I print joints, I know what it is. Whoops. So let's clear up here. Let's print joints. It's the left, up, leg, and the foot. These three here. And so now what I'm going to say is for OBJ in JNTS. So what this is saying for the stuff that's in this string array, print the name and do a carriage return. So let's see if that works. Okay. It did do a carriage return. Let's make it do one other thing. Okay, so we can add a string in. So what we'll do now, let's add, let's see, instead of the carriage return, let's put our fun. Okay, so this is just a string. And so for whatever, this could be whatever variable you want. For whatever in this list, print, and then we're adding our fun to it. And hopefully this will work. I'm going to add a space here. So let's try that. Okay, so left, up leg, are fun. How about is fun? And I'm also going to go back and add that carriage return. So a plus, the n and the slash n. That's just, that means put a carriage return in. So let me try this again. Oh, how about is fun? That sounds kind of weird. Is not broken. Is frozen. Okay, and it's not doing the carriage return. Why is that?
You have the wrong slash on the end.
The wrong what?
The slash needs to be the other one. that. I don't know if it's backslash or,
The wrong slash.
yeah, at the end.
Oh,
Needs to be the other one.
oh, thank you. Yeah. Okay, there we go. Left upper leg is frozen. Left leg is frozen. Left foot is frozen. Okay, so this is a for loop. And this is kind of like a shorthand for loop. I've usually used for loops that are a little more involved, but I like this kind of shorthand way. And just to show you that this part could be anything, I'll just say, at least I think so. I'm just going to say, I'll just say for OB in joints. It's like saying for I. So you've seen for loops where they say for I in, right? Why don't I just say I? That might seem a little more familiar. That should work. Yeah, same thing. So for I in joints, okay, so this is just a for loop. An artist who can make for loops and use this command to make selections, there's so much you can do with this. And just to know a little bit of syntax. Okay, so I've got these three joints selected. Now what I want to do is add well, the first step is we're going to add a circle for each one of them. And then we're going to orient and point and orient constrain them. Okay, so how do I do that? What's the first thing to do? How am I going to find out what the command is?
You're gonna create a circle.
Huh?
You have to create a circle.
Yeah, so let's do that. Let's create a NURBS primitive circle. All right. Okay, so it gives us a lot of stuff. And we don't need all the stuff. So we can go to the quick help. So if I grab this, copy, and if I just bring it down here and paste, right click, go to quick help, okay, so a lot of flags. So we've made a circle. That circle's too small, so we want to scale it up. So we want the circle to be about a diameter of maybe 10. Okay, so I'm guessing dash D is diameter. No, I guess I need circumference or size.
Maybe radius one? No.
Radius length, yeah. So we'll do a radius of 5. Okay. The NR should be normal length. Okay. The dash C is center. Don't need that. So here's what we're going to do. I'm going to keep the print in there because that's good just to keep in there. So let's take circle. So for each one, we're going to make a circle, copy, paste. We're going to give it a normal, that's NR. And so this is 0x, 1y, 0z. So we're going to want it an x, okay? So normal's going to be x, so that'll be 1, 0, 0. We're going to give it a radius of, let's just try 5. And we'll need this. Okay. And so I'm going to delete this one. And let's try this. So there we go. Got a radius of 5. I think I need a radius of 10. So let's do that. Delete this. Let's try it again. There we go. All right. Now, what if we wanted to rename the circle? So there is a name, and that's going to be under N, name, and so that's with a string. And so this is what we're going to do. Space. I'm going to do a -n for name. And what I'm going to do is just give it, so for I in joints,
Minus underscore I plus, string.
so we could try I, but I don't think that's going to work. This is what I'm going to do. So I'm going to take this. And let's add the bracket. And let's stick I in the bracket. Okay, so for each one of these, it's going to go through, make one of those, and it's going to name it what the first one is. Okay, so right now it's just nerve circle. Okay, so I'm going to delete nerve circles. And let's run this again. Okay, so radius, invalid use of radius.
I think if you actually just use the variable I, that'll get you the name.
What's that?
If you just use the variable I.
Yeah, I think I
By
is a
itself.
string.
Okay,
Yeah.
but it's complaining about the use of, oh, it says I thought that was the R. Okay. Yeah, thank you. Yeah, so I normally do a little more elaborate for loop, but this is a lot much more shorthand. Yeah. Oh, but it names it I, so I don't want to name it I. I want to name it, so I think I was right before. Okay, so this is, I think I'm remembering this is what I need to do. So I'm going to go back and put this in it.
Are you sure you can't just use $sign I?
What's that?
Are you sure you can't just use $sign I like the print above?
Make sure, or,
Are you sure you can't? Like if you just use $sign I instead of I.
I don't think so. Oh, you mean $sign I?
Yeah, I'm just
Oh,
looking at the print
okay,
right
yeah,
above.
let's try that. Yeah, let's delete these. Yeah, thank you for jumping in, everybody. Yeah! So, so we got the name of the item because it was selected. It's in this array. But now what I want to do is add a string on it. So I need to do this. So I'm going to say plus. So this is how you add strings to existing names. So I'm going to call, so I'm going to put an underscore and then, that's weird, underscore and then CTL for control. And so when we're adding things, we need to do a parentheses. And so let's see if this works. Let's delete those. Okay. It is telling us that it's frozen. It's still printing. That's nice. And we now have a left upper leg control. So it's now named the same thing as the the first thing in our list. And so doesn't that rock? What else do we want to do with these? We already did it. Point constraint and orient constraint. So the first thing we're going to grab is the joint. So that's going to be, I guess, $i. Okay, so we need to select it. So let's type select I. And if we do the -R, that's going to mean that if anything else is selected, it's going to deselect and just select that. And we're going to select what am I selecting next? Yeah. Now, how do I know which one I'm selecting?
Are you gonna do the flag toggle thing?
Yeah, so I'm going to do the same thing here. Oh, actually, no, I don't need that. So that's just selecting it. And so then now I'm selecting. Oh, but I do have to select this because this is the name. So let's do that. So paste here. And I need the flag for toggle. Right. So let's just see if that works.
I think you need,
Okay. So that looks like it's working because it's only selecting the last one. Okay. Now we're going to add the point constraint and the orient constraint. But remember, we found out that we needed the maintain offset with that one. Okay. So we're going to grab the point constraint. Orient constraint. Whoops. Okay, so now I'm going to come in and get rid of these. I don't need it to keep telling me what the list is because we already know now. One of the best ways for debugging what you've done in Maya is now do print statements. That way you'll know where you are in the script. Yeah.
Does it matter that the select -R I doesn't have a semicolon after it?
Does it matter that what?
The select, the first one doesn't have a semicolon, does that matter?
It does matter, thank you. And so let's try this. Okay, look at that. Isn't that cool? All right. So I appreciate you guys helping me out because honestly, like I usually use a different style of for loops. And like this right here, that would have been like, it would have taken me a while to try that. Okay, so we've got these curves. If we expand them, well, they've got constraints, and we don't need those constraints. So, let's do this. Let's delete. And we can see that it's called point constraint. Oh, but it's making a 1 on it. Okay, let's try this. So let's delete. So we're gonna need to do another. Hopefully this will work. Okay, so we got that. Plus point constraint. And again, this is a string. Copy, paste, and this will be orient. Now, these have a 1 on them, so I know I'm going to need to put a 1 on, at least for these. If I were to restart, I'm not sure what would happen. But I'm going to try this and see if it works. Oh, and I also need an underscore here. Okay, so let's try this. So I'm going to take all these. Let's delete them. Okay, still have the same array. Let's go, baby. Syntax error, line 12. What did I do wrong? Need one of these. Let's try this. There we go. Yeah. So in my case, I needed to put the 1 on to delete them. I don't know if that's something new in Maya 2022 or maybe because I already made the constraints for those. Okay. So now what we can do is, so now we need to parent them. And that's a little more tricky. How am I going to parent this to that?
Are you trying to parent the circle?
What's that?
Are you trying to parent the circle, or are you?
Yeah, I'm trying to parent the circle. So I need to parent this to that and this to that. You know, and I think what I'm gonna do is just maybe make a whole new loop for that.
Just make a new for loop.
For, well, actually, I can just keep it in the same one. Okay. So I'm going to select, so I'm selecting the controls, so that's going to be one of these. Okay, so if a programmer would like to jump in, I did figure this out on my own at one point, but so I'm going to show you what I did in a previous script. In fact, I've got it over here. And this is, you know, like what I usually use, the kind of for loop. All right, so parent grouped controllers down the chain.
Yeah, use another for loop.
Okay, so you can ignore this group. So it's essentially what I was doing is parenting a joint control to its previous one, which is -1.
Well, it's I minus 1.
Okay, so let's grab this. Okay, so I don't need this group stuff. That'll actually come later. Okay, so okay, so this is just I think it's just this, right?
I think you need to have the underscore CTL with it too.
Yeah, that's there.
Oh, okay.
Okay, let's see if that happens. So let's delete these again. Oh, and I need to separate these, I think.
And you need to have 2 entities. You only have 1. Yeah, you need a $I and a $I minus 1.
$I and a $I minus 1. Okay.
The parent needs 2 objects.
Yeah, so parenting, $I and a $I minus 1. So I'm going to copy, this will be copied twice. Is that right?
I think you need a $I and then space.
Let me just look at the other one here. I'm going to do
I
that.
don't know Mel very well, but I'm a
not
little
number.
worried you won't be able to do $I minus 1
Yeah,
in a for each loop. I think you might have to do a proper for loop.
yeah, I think you're right. I think I do need to make a proper for loop. Yeah,
You already have the phone name and the control name. You only need to parent them together.
okay. Let's try it. So what are you saying I need to change?
Delete minus I, minus 1,
Delete -1.
and delete only $sign I, not the square.
Only $i.
Yeah, and add $sign I behind it. Yeah,
And a $i behind it.
yeah.
Yeah, but he needs to parent the circles, not the circle to join.
Also, your CTL is lowercase.
First.
Okay, so $i is the, starting to confuse now myself.
You need another for loop, because all the circles are not made.
Yeah.
No.
I think you're right. I'm going to do it with like I say, this is like a shorthand for loop, and so I'll do it with another like this. So copy,
So he's trying to parent.
paste.
And then it creates the circle. He wants to parent the circle equally to the next circle. Which is doable.
I need the whole thing.
Yeah, that's what the order does.
Okay, so here we have to int I. You know, we've already used I, and that's going to confuse Mel. Well, we'll see. Hopefully it won't. Yeah, no, I'm not declaring. Well, actually, I am. I am declaring a new variable. I'm not sure if that's going to work or not.
I think you'll be fine. Should be okay.
Okay.
The other one's in a for loop.
Okay. Okay, so this one's going to be I don't need this group stuff, but I do need a second joint. So that'll be, okay, so let's get rid of this.
I think you need both, because you have to have.
I do, but this is actually a different thing.
Yeah, yeah.
Replace this with control. TL. Okay, and so now let's just get the thing right. So parent so I'm using this variable up here. So it's going to be joints I, and then joints I minus 1 to control. All right, I'm just gonna, let's see what happens. What do you think, Remy? Remy? I get myself in trouble now?
You have two S on the last one.
What's that?
You have two S there. There are cursor.
Oh, thank you.
My concern is you're using the variable JS
Uh-huh.
on the for loop. But
Oh, yeah.
we haven't declared a variable JS, so
Well, I have. I've made the variable up here. This is what we've been playing with.
It's just not.
yeah, you just have to
It's
change.
JS.
You just have to change it.
It says size JS, but it's supposed to say size.
Yeah, so size, yeah, this one, J and TS. So this probably isn't going to find the previous one. So
What do you mean?
well, okay, so for I equals 1, okay, so that should work.
Yeah.
Yeah, because it's not, yeah, that should work. Because, yeah, okay, let's see. Legal operation plus plus on data on type string. Plus plus.
It's in your for loop. It's the $i plus
Oh.
plus.
No, it's not.
I think it's because $i.
It's not bad.
Hold on, it is. It should be fine.
Legal operation plus plus on data type string.
Or you declare dollar sign I.
What's that?
You redeclare the dollar sign I. So you may need dollar sign B or C.
Call it like, yeah, so I'm redeclaring I. That's what I was afraid of. So just call this something else.
Yeah, if you do like $J, that might work. That's what I did.
Okay, yeah, so do that. Do that here. Do that here. But I'm still looking at,
You want to change it in there too.
yeah, change it here. J. And J. Okay, let's try that. I'm so glad I've got programmers in the room because I could figure this out. I have figured it out. I did this on my very own. I didn't have any help from anybody, and I was really proud of myself when I did it. And that's when I really started to like, oh no, okay, thought I deleted everything. Okay, let's try that. What do you know? Yeah, woohoo! Haha, yeah, right on. You guys rock. Okay, so then the last thing is what?
Recreate the constraints.
Last thing now is I just need to,
Redo the orient constraint.
yeah, redo the orients. Okay, so now we do, I guess we could do another shorthand for. Or I could just keep it in here.
The only thing about this for loop is I don't think it'll get the first item. So you're gonna be missing one constraint.
Well, that's the point, isn't it? Because the first item doesn't have to be constrained to anything.
Well, they all
It
have
doesn't have to be
constrained.
parented to anything.
Yeah, yeah, I'm only doing just a chain. So, okay, so this is going to be, so select, all right, so select, yeah,
You can rotate it in orient constant.
I'm sorry, I didn't,
You can rotate like plus dash offset 0090 behind the orient constant offset.
okay. So let me do this. So select the the joints, which is this one.
No, first for loop,
The first for loop.
yeah, outside. Orient constraint.
Well, I'm in the new for loop.
He's just saying if you wanted to adjust the rotation of the circles.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm not going to worry about that right now. Thank you. Well, yeah, well, I'm gonna select it and then orient constrain it. So first of all, I need to select joints. I guess that could be dash R. And then actually, this will be the second thing I select. So I need to select the circle, which is called this. And then dash TGL, toggle for that.
You're not going to be able to use $, I don't think. It's got to be $J.
Where?
The $I isn't for you, is being used in a different for loop. On that select.
Oh, okay, gotcha. So 1J. Yeah. And then orient constraint.
You're gonna, J is an int, so that's not gonna work. You gotta do the, what's in the parent, the $, joints, square bracket, J.
I'm not sure where you're talking about.
So instead of the select dash R, $J, you need to do the $, joints, square bracket.
$J is just a number. Not the names.
Yeah, square brackets.
If, you gotta do the line immediately above it, that very beginning parent part.
Yeah. Plus control. Okay, let's see if that works. I don't need to do the string thing yet, but okay. Flags must come before objects toggle. I'm just going to take this out.
Just make a second line.
Let's try it again. Right on. Rock and roll. Whoops. Okay, so this works. But the first one doesn't work. Right.
Because the for loop starts at 1 instead of 0.
Ah ha ha. Thank you. Yep, you're right.
No, we can't change.
You can't do that because it breaks the parent thing. I think you just need to copy all the code and just make another for loop.
Yeah, I don't need this stuff here now.
Oh no, we can't do it.
Yeah.
I would just make another for loop.
Yeah.
Just copy the exact same code and then get rid of the parent thing in the second loop. And then just have J equals 0 instead of 1.
Well, well, that's what I did. Right here, it's a new for loop.
Well, I'm saying a third for loop,
Okay,
because this for loop starts at 1 because of the parenting.
okay. Well, it's not anymore because I just set it to 0.
Okay. Well, then the parenting's gonna,
Then can parent them together.
Because the parenting was done, oh, okay. Oh, yeah, I do need that, sorry. I'm doing that in the same for loop. Okay, let's try this. Syntax error,
you have to do the -1, you just have a minus.
-1. Thank you. There we go. Negative index used in array joints.
If you have it at j equals 0, so
Yeah.
j equals 1. You make j equal 1 there, and then.
Equal 1? Okay.
And then make another.
Oh, yeah, because it's doing that here.
Yeah, and then just create another for loop, just.
Okay, I see what you're saying, because, yeah, I need to do that for the orient constraint.
Yeah.
Understood. Okay, so let's do this again. Copy, come down here, paste. I could call this one maybe,
Well, you can still use-
what's that? You can still use J?
Never mind, no, you can't, it's already being used.
You can just delete int $J.
Okay, so now, I don't need a parent, it's just select. J equals 0. Okay, let's try that. Right on.
You still redeclare.
So it is complaining about a redeclaration, but it still works. If it's a yellow thing there, it's a warning. So it'd probably be better to, call this K or something.
Or you could just reset it to 0 instead of redeclaring.
You can just,
Reset it to 0.
no, you can just delete int $J.
Oh, no, yeah, you're right, because it does already do
Yeah.
that, you just don't need
It's
it.
there.
Yeah. So I maybe replace this with K, but this works. So thanks to the fact that I've done this before, I haven't written a script in a while, and the fact that I've got smart people in the room helping me to reason it out, let's take a look at it. First of all, I'm going to save it. Save. True. So I'm going to save script, and I'm going to save it, here. I'm going to call it leg. Legrig. .mel. Oh, actually, and I'm missing something for it. So when you make a Mel script, you want to have it as a, you can either do a local or a global proc. I usually just make a global proc, which is a procedure like a def would be in Python. You give it a name and then any arguments you want to pass in. So, and then it starts with one of these at the beginning, ends with one of those at the end. And so then you would call, whatever the name of this is. So I'm going to grab this. I'm going to bring it over here. And whoops, Control V. Okay, so I'm going to call this FK control. about FKCTL? Because I don't want to interfere with any other scripts I may have. So FKCTL. I need another opening bracket, and then a final ending bracket. I'm going to save that again. File, save, script. Okay. So when you make a script, what you want to do is you want to source it. So I've just made this a script. It's kind of packaged up as a script. It's called FKCTL. So one way to source it, or like put it into memory so that Maya know what this command is, I can just select the whole thing and enter. It's still complaining of the declaration, but it'll still work. If it's red, it won't. If it's yellow, it will. Okay, so now this is the name of the procedure. Okay, and so this is how it would work. Okay, so let's try it on the arm. So I'm going to select this one, hit Q, let's select that one, and this one. Okay, and so now I'm going to run FKL, so I could just type this down here. Or I could, well, let's just put it down here for now. All right, let's run it and see what happens. There we go. We got us an FK arm, auto-rigged. So that took us a while, but imagine how much time it could save in the long run. And that's pretty powerful, isn't it? Don't you think? As artists, we just, well, the help with some programmers. Had I just done it on my own, I mean, had I started this using the normal, the proper for loop, I just kind of took a chance on going with the more informal one today. I hadn't done that in a long, long time, so I wanted to see how much I could get away with this. But we could go in and delete these point constraints. We could add that to the script. And there's other things we could do. So, and I'll show you those. So if we go back to, let's select, so I'm just going to select this one command here and run it independently. I guess I can't do that. Oh. Because it's toggle. All right, I'm going to print the joints, and that should. Oh, well, that's because I guess I did that earlier. This was done in a script.
It's because you're running it in a for loop.
Yeah.
So you can't use that select that's using $i, which doesn't work.
Yeah, you're right. So let's just grab these. So once you have these set up, this is what you don't want. So first of all, I'm going to see if I can orient these. Well, let's look at each one. Okay. So this is what you don't want to have happen. You don't want an animator to come in and well, I'm going to move this. And oops, you know, or I want to scale it. Nope. So what you want to do with this, so select hierarchy, is you want to lock out the, and again, you know, we can watch, let's take a peek at the hierarchy. So we can select the translate, right click, and lock selected. Okay. And so what that is doing, it's setting the attribute of lock to each channel in XYZ translate. It's setting the lock to true, which means that I can't change it. It's locked. I can do this the same thing with scale. Right click, lock. So if I go to move it or scale it, it's locked. The only thing I can do is rotate it. I can also come in here and right click and hide selected. Okay, and so when you hide it, you can see that it makes the attribute for translate X, Y, or Z makes the keyable false, which essentially hides it. Same thing, we can hide the scale. All right. So, and so how would I add that in here in the script? Can a non-programmer tell me? Okay, so, I mean, I want the left-hand controls. And where do we find the name of the left-hand controls? Or not just the left hand, of any control.
The first photo or the next one.
Yeah, so this right here is essentially, we have to use either this format in a simple for loop or this format in a proper for loop. And so if we wanted to, you know, then set attribute, and so I can show you over here what it is. Okay, so this is in the same for loop. Set attribute lock to true and keyable to false. I'm naming the thing and then adding the string on it. And here's another one. This is cool. Show manipulator default. So if I hit W, you know, it's not going to work. If I hit R, it's not going to work. Now there's some things, like so for instance, let's create a polygon primitives cube. Let's get a normal cube. Subdivisions. And what time is it? Okay, so we still have some time, right? All right. Let's move this over. Okay, so here's a cube. Let's freeze the transforms. Let's create a polygon primitives sphere. Here's some freeze the transforms on this. Okay. So, when you're keyframing stuff, it's always a channel box, stuff that you want to be keyframable. And then for the attributes, we can click on, is it this one here? Wait a minute. Attribute editor. Yeah, it's this wacky one here. Or you can hit Control A. Okay, that brings up my attribute editor. Okay, so remember I was talking about shape nodes and transform nodes earlier? Okay, so if I select the thing, it's going to its shape node. What I'm going to do is go up a level to the transform node, and I'm going to go to the display. Now I can set a show manipulator default. So here I'm going to make it to translate. And here I'm going to select this one, and I'm going to turn this one to rotate. Okay, so I can still do W, E, and R. But if I go, is it T? Yeah, so if I go T, then it's going to automatically switch between translate and rotate. So you've got QWER for select, move, rotate, scale, but T will respect the default manipulator type. And so I like to make my things that are going to rotate, I like to make them set them to rotate. That way, if I'm hit the T key, it's going to automatically, so this automatically selects rotate, and then that selects translate. So I think that's kind of fun. I've got that in my script. If I pull the script editor back up, that's what this is. And again, how did I find that? Well, that's the attribute. A lot of times when you're setting these attributes, you have to do them one by one visually, or you can write a script and do them all with a for loop. So, what I want you guys to do is I want you to rig up your characters. I've got videos on it. And then I'm also going to want you to do there's one other concept that I haven't spoken about yet. So this, so I know that this is a lot to swallow. I don't think I'm going to give an assignment just yet with Mel, but at some point I will. But, we did this all together. That name sounds, it looks kind of, let's just say, limb control. I'm not sure if I'm liking. Okay, let's save that file. Save script. Would you guys like the script to be able to look at for future reference?
Yeah.
I'm thinking you might. So I'm going to delete this stuff out. File, save script. And let's load script just to make sure that I've got everything. Oh, okay. So here's another thing. I forgot to show you where scripts go. So we go to Documents, Maya 22, Prefs, Scripts. That's where you're going to put it. Now, there is a scripts directory. You could put it in there too, but I've always been in the habit of tossing it in the pref scripts directory. So, let's go to desktop. I think I saved it here. I don't know where to save it. Desktop. Is this it? My script file. Edit with Notepad. Yeah, that's the one. Okay, so I'm going to take this. Copy. Actually, let's just go here. I'm going to go to scripts. Well, actually, let's upload here. Desktop. Legrig. Open. Okay, so here you can see it's legrig.mel. I'm going to rename it to in class legrig. And I'm going to come over here to the home page. And you guys don't have access. Let's see. Yeah, you do. Scripts. So I'm going to edit this. Okay, in-class rig. And this was, what's today's date? The 31st. So 1/31. '22. Save. So, if we go to home, if we go to like controls and constraints, you'll see videos here on how to make curve controls. I go over that, how to make different shapes. So here you can make, funky shapes.
If you want
Show you how to do that.
local trim V.
Here, class recordings. So I'm going to stop this in just a minute and upload it to the cloud, and then I'll put it on here. So if you miss class, that was today's lesson. Before I do that, so yeah, I just wanted to show where these scripts were, or where the videos were. In this assignment, let's see, character controls. So this is due next week. If we look at it, so you see the videos on the controls constraints page. So I want you to create forward kinematics controls for each body part in the Goldberg model. I would like you to build more descriptive controls than just a simple circle. So submissions, complete files with animation keys to show that it works. User-friendly, so like an artist isn't going to see just crazy wires everywhere. You want it so an animator could easily see which controls which part of the body. Creativity is good. So this is your grading criteria. So in the videos, I show you a shortcut. Today I showed you how to place things with constraints. In the videos, you can do a shortcut by snapping stuff. Also in the videos, there's another element to controls, and that's making a group node. So I'm going to stop this now.